Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'll be sharing something that has been happening recently. Yo guys, the emotional journey of interviews, unemployment, and being a single mom and trying to navigate it all has not been easy whatsoever. So in the past week, this past week has been a lot. And I've been experiencing and currently experiencing emotions of uncomfortability, insecure, and also nervous. But also, this has made me to reflect on how far I've come and the work I'm still doing on myself. Hey guys, and also please don't mind the background noises. It's my son playing with his friends. So, anyway. Here's the story. On the 10th of January, I had an interview. So initially, when I received the invite, I was so elated and grateful, especially because I've been unemployed since my psychology internship ended in December. And honestly speaking, unemployment is a sad reality in South Africa. So as a single mom and a breadwinner, unemployed feels and hits differently because it's not just about me, it's about providing for my son. And honestly, as much as I want a job at this point that aligns with my passion, I really need the money. The financial aspect is what weighs the most. So, initially this role sounded promising. I'm not sure about it at this point. But anyway, it's in a different province, which is Bloemfontein, which adds another layer to the complexities because now my son is currently not going to school because I'm trying to figure out whether we'll be staying here in Gauteng or we're moving back to Bloemfontein. So, I feel like I'll unpack the emotional and the logistical challenges of relocating with a child in another episode. So just to give a little bit of context about this interview. So, this interview entailed me going through multiple rounds of interviews. And honestly, I feel like we don't talk enough about how mentally and emotionally taxing the interview process can be. I felt anxious during that process. But this time around, anxiety has helped me prepare better for the interview because I was able to anticipate questions that they may ask me, and I was able to stay true to myself, trying to respond or rehearsing these questions by myself. And honestly, I'm really proud of myself. I felt good about how I articulated my thoughts during that interview. But to be honest, these rounds are exhausting. I think there was a point where I even commented or said that to the HR manager, like at this point, I just want to know whether I'm in or not so that I can move on to something else. So, but anyway, this time around, I just feel like I approached this interview differently because in the past, interviews were a nightmare, guys, because I feel like prior 2023, my self-esteem and my self-concept were not the best, So interviews felt like a threat. And that mindset just made things even worse. Like I remember before the interview, like days before the interview or upon arrival at the venue where the interview is held, like I will spiral into worry. Like the negative thoughts would consume me so much that it would trigger the physical symptoms such as my heart would start racing, I'll start trembling, I would feel nauseous and fatigue, and I was very irritable. Like everything irritated me. Like the anxiety was so evident and so bad that in one of the interviews that I attended, it was an online interview, even worse. So one of the panel member even stopped the interview and asked me, like, are you okay? And her just asking me that, I just became emotional, And that interview didn't go well. Anyway, another story. During my master's selection process, the anxiety went out of this roof. It was so bad that my trembling was so bad that my lips were moving up and down and my body was literally shaking, to a point whereby the girl that was sitting next to me in a group discussion could actually hear my body shaking. Like, I was mortified. I don't want to lie. It felt so threatening. Everything that was happening was just too much for me to handle at that point. And I felt like how my body is responding and the level of anxiety that I'm experiencing were mostly rooted in unresolved issues. And because of my anxiety level, my performance was not great. It was bad. And that meant that I got rejected numerous times. And the rejections made things even worse, Through these rejections, I was anxious most of the time. My sleeping patterns were horrible. I was irritable and I was constantly exhausted because while I was a teacher, I had to work so hard in order for me and my son to live comfortably. And this ended up me being in hospital for stomach ulcer. The pain that I was experiencing during that time, physical pain, when I was told that this is stomach ulcer, it was on another level. I'll never forget that pain ever in my life. And I felt like the period that I was in, it affected my health, it affected my relationships, it affected my work performance, and even more, it was affecting me as a mother. So fast forward, last Friday was the final round of the interview. Okay, fine. Surprisingly, I really enjoyed that interview, honestly, because it felt more like a conversation rather than question, answer, the typical interviews that I've went through. So to me, that approach made such a difference. And I think, in my opinion, more recruiters should adopt it because it takes the pressure off the candidate and allows more of an authentic dialogue to happen during that interview. So later that evening, because I don't even know how much I will be getting paid for this particular job, I decided, let me just email the HR and ask them about the salary scale. So it was a Friday and I wasn't expecting a response until Monday, which is today is Monday the 20th. Yeah, Monday the 20th. So when I sent the email, I wasn't expecting any response on that particular Friday. So anyway, I was unable to sleep that Friday. I don't know what was happening, but I remember I woke up around 3 a.m. and I decided, let me just go to the restroom. So when I came back into the room, I decided to check my phone because I couldn't sleep anyway. So I saw an email notification, and that email notification was from the HR. Hi, when I opened the email, my heart sank. Guys, as I'm not laughing, the level of disappointment I felt at that moment when I saw that email. So the salary they were offering was less than what I was earning as a high school teacher 2 years ago. So, and remember then when I was a teacher, I still felt like I was living a very comfortable life because back then I lived at home, so I didn't have to worry about rent. So we're living a fairly comfortable life with my son and I. So now this role requires me to relocate to a different province, which requires me to cover rent, which requires me to pay obviously for my car installment, insurance, portion of the fees, my son's school fees, because my son's father also contributes to the fees and contributes to things related to school, and also me buying food. And from the salary that they are offering, I realized that, man, that means I'm not going to even be able to afford petrol to go to work, to afford to pay electricity or buy electricity, to afford to buy water, to afford to even have, like, money for, those emergency situations whereby they are unanticipated. I won't be able to do that. And at that moment, I was like, man, what's this? What do they call this? At this point, I just didn't understand what and like, I feel a little bit disrespected to a certain degree, because these people have my qualifications, they have my CV, they know the level of work experience I have and whatnot. But why they're offering me such a little, like, why they're offering me such a less salary, because it was not correlating with my qualification and my experience. So I decided at that moment, because the level of disappointment that I experienced I was just in shock, honestly. And at that moment, I decided, no, man, let me just pray and read my Bible just to calm myself down. So at 5 a.m., I just waited a little bit. So I just waited out. I'm like, okay, at 5 a.m., I'll just go to my mom and just share her the news, because I'm like, maybe another person's perspective is something that I need. So I go to her room, and then I found her not sleeping, fortunately. So I tell her the news, and she was like, hi, bo, indoni, so we cross at home. She's like, indoni, pofu ababantu bayaziva, And at that moment, I was like, okay, clearly I'm not the crazy one, But anyway, I feel like this whole experience taught me a valuable lesson. Firstly, to ask about the salary, even at the moment you get the invite for an interview, just ask about the salary. How much are you willing to pay me? Because these companies now, they don't even tell you how much they are paying in the job advertisement. So in order for you to save time, save yourself the effort, and also the effort of preparing for these interviews, I think it's important for us to understand and know what we are getting ourselves into before we start the preparations of the interviews, because the preparations can be so exhausting and so emotionally and mentally exhausting. So to avoid all of that, ask prior. So, I must say that in all these experiences, I've realized something crucial, that I have made a job my mini God. Because let's be honest, without money, life feels nearly impossible. We need money for everything. But through prayer and leaning on God's word, I've been reminded that He is my ultimate provider. So for me, a job shouldn't be just about the paycheck, but it should be more about you contributing meaningfully. So I feel like this shift in my perspective has made me feel free, and I should also pointed out that maybe I might be saying this because I come from a more privileged stance, because of my family is very tight-knit and we help each other in each and everything that we do. We are not rich, we are just middle-class people, but we just help each other in each and everything that we do. So maybe my perspective also comes from that, and I'm truly blessed and fortunate to have that in my life. So I've also relied on practical tools on how to manage anxiety. I've learned so much from self-help books, Pinterest tips, and therapy. Guys, Pinterest, honestly, Pinterest can be used for a lot of things, and most importantly, it has self-help tips. I've learned basic emotions through Pinterest. Now I know my basic emotions. I know what I am feeling, and I've also used Pinterest to help me on. It has self-help techniques on how to manage anxiety. One of the ladies, I'm gonna link the link to her video, her YouTube video. She teaches you on how to use a visualization as a technique on how to manage anxiety. So I've used that the most. And one of the books that I will recommend to anyone that has stood out to me is a book by Anita Phillips. So she is a trauma therapist. She blends psychology and Christianity together. And she talks about, mainly her book talks about the war with our emotions and how life begins to take shape once we end that war with our emotions, which means that we cannot divorce our emotions from who we are. Our emotions are part of our human experiences. So that book, it felt like a therapy session, to a point whereby I had to pause a little bit. I didn't complete the book because it was triggering a lot of deep emotions, and I ended up seeking therapy for that. And therapy helped me a lot on how to navigate these emotions, on how to process these emotions in a safe environment, and also what are the meanings behind these emotions. So in a nutshell, guys, investing in myself has been a journey. It's helping me become a more mindful mom, though I'll have to admit, like, it's an everyday challenge. It's not easy whatsoever, but I do it each and every day, even when it is very uncomfortable or gets confrontational at times. So anyway, guys, what about you? What has been your experience when it comes to interviews, employment, unemployment, and even entrepreneurship? How do you navigate all these challenges, especially being a single mother at the same time and also trying to provide for your child or providing for your kids? Let's just engage in the comment section. Sorry, what is happening now? Let's just engage in the comment section for us to unpack and unfold what has been our journeys when it comes to this particular topic. So I think it is very important to constantly remind ourselves that our journeys as single mothers are very unique. So it's very important for us to always be kind to one another. So thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye.